would like to ask to come to the microphone representative from the Communication Workers of America, Local 1103, Mr. Joe Mayhew.
A little high for me. Thank you for all coming to the rally today and celebrating the unveiling of the Dr. King Memorial in Washington, D.C. and to support decent jobs and fair wages and fair budgets. Just a few weeks ago, I had the good fortune of visiting the Dr. King Memorial in Washington, and I can tell you it was a very moving experience. Behind his massive image emerging out of the granite were the many words he spoke, and they were engraved. For this rally, I thought this passage was particularly appropriate. True peace is not merely the absence of tension, it is the presence of justice. These words were spoken in 1958, yet today we are experiencing the worst economic injustice in decades. The gap between the ultra-wealthy and the poor and the working class has never been greater. Our ability to provide for our families has never been harder. The Communication Workers of America represent 45,000 workers involved in a contract dispute. Just a few weeks ago, we spent 2 weeks on a picket line striking against a greedy, multi-billion-dollar telecommunication giant, Verizon. We were forced on strike because Verizon would not bargain fairly. That strike and the negotiations that are still going on today were about three things: jobs, jobs, jobs. These were jobs that the union currently represents and is trying to maintain as good jobs. These are jobs that we should have, and jobs that need to be brought back to America from overseas contractors, for workers who have very little rights and even less protections. And those jobs, the most important thing, is those jobs belong to everyone right here. It is these jobs that will restore our economy and reduce the deficit. With good wages, though, with good wages and benefits, as well as taxes being paid. These jobs belong to the neighbors, the friends, and the family of everyone out here today. Everyone who is or is ever aspiring to be part of the middle class. These are your jobs. Dr. King understood the labor movement and job security are essential, not only for reducing poverty, but for growing the middle class. Because not only are union jobs good middle-class jobs, but they put the presence of the union, which helps balance power between the workers and the employers, benefiting not just the unionized workers, but all low and middle-income workers, and reducing inequality. Verizon made $22 billion in profits in the last 4 years, and during that same time paid their 5 executives $258 million. Companies like Verizon that make billions in profits have a responsibility to reinvest in our future and create good American jobs and not outsource them overseas. Verizon can easily afford to treat its workers fairly, bring jobs back to this community, and still be profitable. Our fight is your fight. And because it is a fight of the aspiring middle class, it is a fight for those who wish to maintain the middle class, and it is a fight for the future of those workers who come after us. If a profitable company like Verizon can strip its good middle-class jobs by gutting a contract, what chance does any other worker have of achieving and reaching the American dream? In 1965, Dr. King addressed the Illinois AFL-CIO convention in which he stated, "The labor movement was the principal force that transformed misery and despair into hope and progress." But he also offered these last words I want to offer. The two most dynamic movements that reshaped the nation during the past 3 decades are labor and the civil rights movement. Our combined strength is potentially enormous. We have not used a fraction of it for our own good and for the needs of society as a whole. If our two movements unite in their social pioneering and initiative, 30 years from now, people will look back on that day and honor those who had the vision to see the full possibilities of modern society and the courage to fight for the realization. Thank you.
Our next speaker